Hey y'all, so today I'm going to try to show you how to fix a cracked dash pad like this. Now this car was sitting out in the sun and this thing's just old, like just pressing down on it cracks. There's some pretty nasty parts of this. So this thing new is probably about, or I've seen for about $120 or so. And of course I've got a blue interior and they only make them in black. So what I'm going to try to do is repair this as cheaply as possible. And then yeah, so my first thing I'm going to try is this stuff right here. It's called Great Stuff, and it's like this, it's the like expanding foam stuff that you can pour around or that you spray around outdoors stuff. And this one is UV resistant, so hopefully it'll be good at protecting this thing from the sun. And then what I'm gonna do is, once all these cracks are filled, I'm gonna rewrap it in another thing of vinyl to make it look nice. Yeah, first thing I'm gonna do is just shake this thing up and I'm gonna start with this gap right here, see if I can just fill that puppy up. Alright, so I shook it up for 30 seconds. So let's see what this stuff does. Now obviously you're gonna have to sand this down. Alright, so I'll get back to you once I'm done applying this stuff. Alright, so you kind of got to let this stuff cure for a little bit. And then once it hardens up, you can sand it down and make it go flush with the rest of this. Alright, so that now all the foam is hardened up, we can start to trim it and sand it down and see if it helps patch those crevices, and hopefully we can start to reform some of the foam that has fallen off. So I'm going to start cutting this stuff up and then just, seeing what happens. So here's where I've gotten so far. I've gotten this part pretty much smooth. I'm working on rounding this part out. I'm probably gonna have to hit it with a little bit more foam to give it a more solid look. But yeah, this part's coming out really good. Still got a good amount of sanding to do, but the material I've used so far has been pretty easy to work with. Like I've been cutting it with just a regular old knife, if I can find it. Shit. I don't know, somewhere around here. But I mean, it's like a kitchen knife, so it's nothing like ridiculously sharp, and here it is. You could probably use a like a box knife or like one of those blades too, but this thing is working really well. It's nothing crazy sharp. But yeah, so you gotta let it cure for about 15 minutes, but I found if you let it cure for a few more hours, it's a lot less gooey and a lot more workable. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't, if you look here, like you really don't have to press in real hard or anything like that. And yeah, so this is where I am so far, and I'll get back to you once I've made more significant progress. Alright, so here's the dash pad almost finished with its first layer, I suppose. We've got all the cracks filled in. I'm gonna have to do another layer here, but I've got the edges back on. I'm just trying to round them off. I got all the holes filled, right in there, right in there. Now, something I would recommend doing, but that I wish I did, was take these high parts from the cracking and just pick them off, and then cover the whole area with this stuff, and then pack it. But this corner right here came out really good. Up here still coming up. I mean, all that's up there is filled and flushed and flush. Right up here, there's some more repair we gotta do. I'm probably gonna have to redo this whole front section, but I mean, other than that, it's not too bad. I'd honestly, what I would do is let this sit for at least a few hours, so this stuff really hardens and it sticks to the material. That's what I'd do, because if you don't give enough time to dry, you start to sand it or trim it off with this knife, it flexes and peels off, and it just kind of gets to be a pain in the ass. But yeah, this one's almost about done. Got the big cracks filled in, and I mean, I know this is never gonna look as good as it did from the factory, but I think it's gonna at least look a lot more presentable. And this can cost me $9, so it's a tenth of the price, less than a tenth of the price of a brand new one. And I can paint whatever color I want, because they only make them in black, they don't make them in white. So yeah, so I will make another video about whether or not I'm going to paint or wrap this. I'm probably going to do a little bit more research for you all to let you know. But yeah, this is it so far. And once this is done curing and sanded down, I'll get back to y'all. By the way, I'm using 100 grit sandpaper. Seems to do a pretty good job of taking off material without, you know, fucking it up too bad. So yeah, there y'all go.